to this look you got going?
This isn't new. I've done this for years, but we're going to ride the momentum. So I told the guys not to put any get any ashes on it down there in the locker room. So, but yeah, so it's whatever works.
Whatever works, and
don't get any ashes on it. Can't do that.
Exactly. He's referring to the cigar smoke after the win over Tennessee on the third Saturday in October. Alabama remains undefeated in the SEC with a big win over Tennessee, 37-20. They continue to roll. And we mentioned this stat at the beginning of the show. In case you weren't with us, Alabama, the first team in SEC history to knock off four ranked teams back to back without an open week. So it's been done before, but you've been blessed with 7 days in the bye. Now with Alabama, they've done it back to back. They've done it at home, they've done it on the road, and they're once again right now sitting undefeated in SEC play and one of the teams undefeated in the league. And they're doing so with a balanced attack on offense and a really solid defense as well. This has been a really fun Alabama team to watch because we make fun of the hoodie and the black hoodie and everything about that. But there has been something to consistency with this football team that we've seen since their loss.
Yeah, and I feel like Kalen DeBoer and company have really turned Bryant-Denny Stadium into one of the true home field advantages in the SEC. Has he lost there yet?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think he has.
I mean, it truly is incredible what he's been able to do. I mean, but at the same time, it also makes that Florida State loss look so silly, seeing how both teams have gone since then. Florida State, obviously, on the down, going down the roller coaster, and then Alabama's going up the roller coaster, and hopefully they don't have to go back down. But, I mean, what Kalen DeBoer, as I mentioned, what Kalen DeBoer has been able to do and to revitalize this group. And honestly, it almost makes you wonder if the Florida State loss was the best thing to ever happen to this team.
100%.
Because I think there was a sense of entitlement going into the season and how, maybe some of the players showed up and they were just like, well, we're Alabama, so all we have to do is just show up.
Right.
And, I mean, as Tide fans know, Nick Saban was always about the process.
Right.
I think they got away from the process and – I was listening to Kalen DeBoer's post-game press conference, and he snuck the word process in there.
Yeah, he did. And there are a lot of Sabanisms that are out there. And you can use a lot, of Saban's philosophies in really any business, not even just football, but I mean, you can take it to any realm of industry and of business about keeping the main thing, and kind of living in your own, bubble and tunnel. But if you go back to that Florida State game, the one thing about that I think that they've really changed as far as changed courses is the way they're using Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson threw the ball 43 times in that football game. Ever since then, I'll give you his attempts. These are his attempts since the Florida State game. 17, of course, we went 17 for 17 in that game. 29, 38, 31, 31, 29. So they have found a nice little wheelhouse, and anywhere between 25, 26 to about 30, 35 attempts per game seems to be his wheelhouse. And if you're running 70 plays a game, you can create a good balance with your run game and your pass game if he's throwing 35 times a game. And so I think that this is a team that's really found its identity on offense. And Ty Simpson has been the catalyst for this team in a bunch of different reasons. I know we're going to talk about him as far as winning one of the most prestigious trophies in the league. But get this. I just read these numbers a second ago. He's second in the SEC in yards per game, even though I mentioned that he's not throwing the ball at the same clip as Joey Aguilar is throwing the football, still second in yards. The number that blows me away, 218 attempts. So he has 218 attempts on the season, 1 interception. Yeah. So everybody does touchdown to interception ratio is 18-1.
18-1.
But I don't think it does it justice. He's put the ball in the air 218 times. And 153 times it found in Alabama receivers' hands. A lot of times they were dropped, and even the receivers will tell you that. But one time it's found the hands of the opposition. He takes care of the football, and that to me has been the difference.
I mean, again, we go back to what we talked about before the season even started. What is Ty Simpson? Right when he got named the starter, what does he need to do? Get the ball on the outside to his weapons that he has, and Jeremy Bernard, Ryan Williams, all of his wide receivers.
Yeah.
But I really think he's been playing his best ball since Jam Miller has come back. And Jam Miller has been a huge, huge help for Alabama. He was kind of limited last week after exiting the Mizzou game. But, I mean, we were still shocked that he even played last week. And I believe he did find the end zone once. But it really is incredible what this Alabama team is doing. And I know you talked about Sabanisms. I feel like this is as close as Alabama has felt since they still had Nick Saban at the helm.
Yeah, absolutely. And the way that they're going about their business is not flashy, but it is very effective, and they're doing their work methodically. Yes. And there you see some of the numbers there. This past game, 19-29, 253 yards, a pair of touchdowns. That Xavier Brown pick six.
My goodness.
You talked about it with KCK a moment ago, how that it really flipped that game. It flipped that narrative. That's the balance stack I'm talking about, because the defense is making plays. That's obviously the biggest play probably of the season the defense has made so far. With that pick six, really turned the tide over, and it really shows you that.
No pun intended.
I know, exactly. And it shows you that what Kane Wommack is doing with the defense as well, because this Alabama defense usually has a couple of guys. I mean, last year you had Jahad Campbell. You have these marquee guys that are first-round NFL draft picks, and Deontay Lawson might be one, and Tim Keenan might be one. But it seems like this defense is playing holistically well. They're not relying on one unit, whether it's the D-line, the linebackers, or the secondary. Not relying on one unit. They're playing together almost on a string defensively, and you got to love that if you're the DC.
Yeah, one of the things that has kind of surprised me about Kane Wommack is that he isn't really coaching scared.
Right.
So
yeah.
It goes back to the Georgia game when they went up 14-0 early, and he was still blitzing. And he wasn't, sending 3 and dropping back 8 or anything. He's still playing to put pressure on the quarterback, which Alabama has been able to do.
Yep.
Joey Aguilar, we talked about a little bit earlier. He didn't really have his best game. He also didn't really have his worst game, but he's in this little funk right now where the last 3 games he's had 3 interceptions and then 3 touchdowns. But, that Xavier Brown interception.
That pick.
I think, if I remember correctly, that's the first defensive touchdown since 23 for Alabama.
Wow.
I mean they just didn't have that last year.
Yeah, they didn't have it. That was kind of the one thing about their defense. That, yes, they were attacking, but they weren't turning the ball over last year. That's been a point of emphasis this year. And I wonder how much sleep Kane Wommack has got over the last couple of weeks, because since they started their stretch, these are the quarterbacks he's had to game plan against. Gunnar Stockton, and we've seen how dangerous he can be. We saw at the end of the Ole Miss game.
5 tutties.
Exactly. Diego Pavia. Then Bo Beulah, who's had a nice little run here, and then Joey Aguilar. These are 4 of the upper echelon quarterbacks in the SEC, and he has seemingly put them all in check, not to mention put the running game in check for Missouri. Ahmad Hardy, less than, I think, 60 yards there in that football game. So it feels like this defense has really answered the bell at every turn. And once again, here comes another one of the more talented quarterbacks in the league. I know Lenora Sellers isn't having the kind of season I think a lot of people projected at the beginning of the year. But once again, another tough quarterback to play at Williams-Brice Stadium there and get South Carolina.
Yeah, and I still think if there was one thing you were to nitpick about this Alabama team, it's the fact that they still cannot prove that they can stop a running quarterback.
Right.
And that's the one thing that you can pinpoint that Alabama might be an early exit this year. I mean, we can get into this. I really do think that they're pretty much a lock at this point. I mean, when you look at the schedule upcoming, they go to South Carolina, they host LSU, they host Oklahoma, they host Eastern Illinois, and then you've got the Iron Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of big games there at home. We know the LSU game is always a hype fest for Alabama. We know the Oklahoma game will be big because they're looking for that revenge factor after what happened last year. Speaking of Bryant-Denny Stadium, we got a chance to hear from Kalen DeBoer about protecting home turf.
Bryant-Denny is our home, and what we've done here and how great we've played. And again, it's us and the fans working together to bring that energy, to make it a home field advantage. And so there's just something that feel that I've already felt. I felt it early. Not just this year, but last year. When you're out there, there's just a comfort level I think our guys have being out there. And so again, you can't take it for granted. You still got to go out there and make the plays, but having that home field advantage is a big deal. So. Our guys, as far as just celebrating and downstairs in the locker room, a lot of smiles. They're excited. Last week, I would say this. We talked about the 24-hour rule and enjoying that win. I don't think our guys enjoyed that win much because they were getting ready to go, be back to committing to the process and getting back to work and being better because I think they know that in both areas, both sides of the ball, we left some things on the out there on the table that we didn't take advantage of last week. And that'll be the case again when we watch the film here from tonight. But again, we're playing solid football, team football. That's what matters. Each side of the ball, finding their times to pick up the other, and just guys grinding, trusting that the other side is going to get it done sooner or later.
Alabama's a very dangerous team, and they're a hungry team, if you heard there from Coach Kalen DeBoer, and invoked, as Patrick said, the infamous word, process. They have a process-oriented approach. They'll go to Williams-Brice Stadium to take on South Carolina. As of right now, Alabama about 11.5-point favorite over the Gamecocks in that matchup, set for 2:30 on Saturday.